X here. We're back with the Ray Draft League Season 2. Accompanying me here, I have a guest, just like I did in the first season. Usually we talk a little bit about the teams. We have 14 players, 4 returning. We have the Season 1 champion, Ally Switch is Pain. We have the second place, Solossus, now renamed to Solossus Supporters. That's Atmosphere. The Zygarde Kai actually also rebranded themselves to, I believe it was the Corviknight Vegas. Jaden, could you remind me?
Yeah, I think it was the Corviknights. Diamond was
Las Vegas. Yeah, that has the Corviknight, you know? I apologize, yeah. Diamond. Your name was a little long. So I'm just gonna call you the Corvis. And we also had another rebrand from AngeloHunter, who actually made it top 8, losing in top 8 to our eventual Season 1 champion. I believe they rebranded to San Diego Palkia, which, I don't know, I like their last one, but I believe they changed their name because I changed their team because they moved from Kansas to San Diego for so I think he wanted to keep it all homey. But yeah, and then we have all these other new amazing players that we're gonna start talking in, just like Season 1. It's gonna be 8 weeks long with top 8, and then there's gonna be pricing. Actually this time we had a $5 fee, so first place is actually gonna get $60 and a trophy. Okay, we have a trophy, this is confirmed. That's what I'm saying. And second place is gonna believe I get $30 in fourth and second place is getting $40, $30 in fourth and third are gonna get, I believe, 10. I think it's 10. So don't come me in this, guys. But let's just talk a little bit more about the draft order, because I forgot to write a script for this. So this is the draft order we ended up. Funnily enough, I let Ally Switch Pain, our Season 1 champion, actually tell me how many rolls he wanted. And funnily enough, he only told me 3. Because he felt bad about doing like potentially 50. And I was like, you should have told me to do more. Because I showed him the preview. This actually was the worst position he could have asked for, given that he actually got second and I believe last on the other 2 draft orders before we get this finalized. And when it comes to draft leagues, the order that you are matters a lot. For example, first and second, and then the 13 and 14 spot usually have the biggest advantage, given that you get your second pick right away, especially at the very end. But I personally think like being first is always the best, because not only do I get to get that number 1 Pokemon I always want, when we come back I can see what people trying, and then I get first dibs on like my next pairing type. On the and then you can argue that the last place can also be similar, but last place you have to wait until you are like, oh, 12 person pick. Okay, what is left? So there was a lot of weird things in a couple of these drafts. I called them out, but I have Jaden here to help me out, because while I'm not a draft expert, I know a little bit about synergy, and I know about like we have a lot of very strong players. So let's hold and talk to you about every single team we can. So we have the San Diego Palkia first. This is their manager is AngeloHunter. As I mentioned, he was top 8 on Season 1. Their team actually, I don't believe he got any Pokemon he used last, because I know Magnetric actually was Circuitry last season. It has a little bit of the synergy that they want, but definitely very different from his Season 1 team. Jaden, I talked enough. Tell me what you think about this team.
Well, it's the standard Rain, Celesteela plus a Lightning Rod combination you see a lot in draft leagues. Very, very strong, very, very powerful, and I've seen this composition dominate draft leagues to the point where it's gone uncontested into a grand final. He's also got Garchomp added to this composition. It makes it even stronger, which is very, very solid, because you get a very good Dragon Steel mode with the Celesteela, with the Garchomp, and they can switch in on each other's weaknesses. And Angelo's just built a very, very good team. He's used his first pick very well. Like, he's grabbed the Ludicolo, best rain setter by the way, don't at me, with a Politoed. I don't know which, I think I got that wrong way around. But he's got a Volcarona on there for great support. He's got Mimic Spectrum paired with Snorlax. I'm sure people who have played 2018 know the power of Pikachu Snorlax. And then he's also got Liepard on there with a Silvally. The only issue I see with this team is this Articuno. The Articuno on here, it makes sense. Like, the team in itself is strong enough without it. But I think you can just get something in there just to make this team truly unbeatable. I don't know what it is because I haven't used Celesteela before. But I do know just grab really anything in that slot and I think it will work perfectly fine. Maybe another rain setter. Another rain setter, another rain sweeper, just to give you a little bit of extra flexibility.
Yeah,
that's what I suggest.
Funnily enough, poor Angelo, he actually wanted Frostlass in that spot, but he got a snipe. And it's very unfortunate because this happened partially because we had to skip him. He lost the Frostlass because we had to skip him.
So
that's
unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate, but yeah, that was his peak. I believe Angelo actually was probably the one that didn't get sniped. So for those that do not know, Angelo was actually had to kind of be driving and around. So he left most of his draft plans in his private channel for me and the admins to look. And he actually, yeah, I was very surprised that Celesteela was his first pick, given that a lot of draft players usually get Dragapult first, since Dragapult is very versatile. And yeah, I believe he never really got sniped. Instead, he actually sniped Volcarona, Garchomp, and Silvally from 3 other players that we'll be talking a little bit. So it was kind of funny that he was the sniper instead. And yeah, hopefully the back Articuno was his oopsie, like I lost Frostlass. I agree, like I don't believe in Silvally. I think Silvally is probably the one Pokemon I dislike the most out of his entire draft, just because I personally did use it when I was playing this past draft, both in singles and doubles in the past, and Silvally has just disappointed me. So hopefully Angelo tells me how to use Silvally, because I don't believe in it. Otherwise, this is indeed a very strong draft. So good job, yeah. Angelo. I like it a lot more.
Very strong. Angelo, just because you've got Celesteela, Rain, Lightning Rod, and Garchomp, you've got very heavy expectations from me this season.
No pressure. But hey,
no pressure.
I'm just saying, if you feel spicy, sheer call Articuno. I know you wanna.
I'd be down to see that 1 week.
Oh, that happened last season. Catfishy didn't. And that's the only loss that Ally Switch is Pain had. We actually have it on stream on the audio. But yeah, that's why I mentioned it. Alright, let's go move on because we don't want to get you stuck here for too long. Next, we have Jackie, which I really should have all their names in like, you know, it's the Alcremie.
Athens.
Yeah,
Athens Alcremie, I believe, is Jackie's team.
Look, guys, I have it open now. I'm not gonna be a scrub. Sorry. So yeah, it's the Athens Alcremie. Jackie actually is one of our newcomers. I have no knowledge about Jackie. She's one of the 4 dark horses because I don't know much about her besides knowing that she's a manager in Little Roots. But I personally really like her draft. Very straight. Like the fact that, like I said, I love Dragapult. Arcanine being her second Pokemon. I love Arcanine too. You have, you know, your beat up option too if you want it. The Tapu Fini kind of, I get it. I mean, I personally have done a beat up team where I also have a Fini because you have mons there that you probably don't want to get burned. So I assume it's kind of like people conflicted about the lack of nerfing your own dragon, but I mean, Dragapult and Salamence, you don't bring them both together and you can still work around it. And then you have a strong, I don't know if Dusner is the best TR setter, but you do have like a Rhyperior, which is a very strong TR. You do have Comfy and which I can't believe they let her have Comfy. Comfy was literally her 7th pick, guys. How did this happen? I don't know. But Jackie did get sniped a little bit, I do want to say. she actually got sniped from Garchomp, and then Tangela also got sniped from her. But otherwise, I believe she got hold the pick she wanted, and she was very happy. I don't know what wishy-washy does, but it was her C tier of the 25 points. I think the 7 first months she picked were really strong. Um, the Naya Legal I also think is really good. I don't know about her other 3 free picks. So Jaden, I will let you take the over now.
So, Jackie here's got a very solid team. Like the Dragapult, Finny, Escav for your fantasy core is a good start. Then you got Arcanine, Finny, and Tangrowth for your starter core, your Fire Water Grass core. That's actually very good that you've actually got your starter core, your core that you need to build. A little bit about Jackie. She's actually in a league that I'm in at the moment. And I think she's doing alright in that. But anyways, it does a terrible setter. It's quite honestly one of the best value ones you can get. And in fact, it can go both ways. It can go fast, it can go slow. It's got slow mode with the Escav, with the Rhyperior. Wishy-Washy is a very big threat on the Trick Room, because it can go either physical or special, you won't know, especially in Dynamax. The beat up like you suggested with the Arcanine, but I think you probably want to be using Arcanine more as an intimidator. Comfey is actually a Pokemon I have a problem with on this team, because I see it as being a weakness policy prog, but I don't really see it doing much outside of that. So maybe getting something else for Comfey to do could be worthwhile. I think you need to pick between Salamence or Met Dragapult. Spoiler alert, just pick Dragapult. It's so much better than Salamence. And just grab another flying type in the Salamence spot. But generally, I don't mind this team too much. It's a good, solid draft for the league, and it should be very serviceable.
Yeah, that Jackie, I praised her a lot. It was honestly, like I said, one of my favorite drafts, and her free picks got as I mentioned, snipe. So, but I still can see this going very far. I mean, there's a reason why Dragapult is still picked. I know it's not for everyone, but I believe in Dragapult. So
yeah, Dragapult's great. Also, I just thought of something because I looked at the tier list. Drop Salamence to Tornadus Farian. That is a very big suggestion because you get access to Tailwind. Which would be very helpful for these Pokemon like Nihilego, Arcanine, Bee, and potentially if you want to run Speedy, Rhyperior, Scav, or Wishy-Washy. So, yeah.
There you go, Jackie.
Solid draft. And should do well.
Alright, so our next one is the new Barklow Puppies. 45 mice, a veteran VGC player, actually coming pretty hot from being a manager and winning NPA season 11. Oh, hello, Robin. So I know that I'm not sure how many actually drafts, like Pokemon drafts like this, 45 mice has done. However, I do know that he's an amazing VGC player, and I do know that him and our season 1 champion tend to work together. I believe while we were drafting, Ally was saying, "Are you trying to recreate my high roller team?" So I believe that we should not underestimate. And then honestly, given how much mice also got sniped during the draft, he did. I like what he has. I don't think I have any complaints. There is one thing that I thought I updated, and apparently it's not updated. But that Maractus is not. Oh, wait, no, it did. Okay, so one thing I want to point out is that the Cradil, he had a Maractus as his 20 C tier peak, and I have updated it to Cradilli right now. It doesn't really change much, to be quite honest. But yeah, I like the fact that he got Regieleki. It was one of his top 3 picks. I like that he ended up being able to have the Colossal Mole, while Nips didn't make it last season to top A. Nips actually was very close. So the Colossal, I have heard mixed feelings about the Colossal Mall in draft leagues, but I think you have to respect it. And the fact that you also have Regieleki, the only thing I will be worried about is that your TR mode is like kind of iffy. Like you kind of depend on Clefable, Corviknight, and Sableye. Because I don't think Mark Morton is going to see much play. I don't even know if Crocodile is like a 50-50. But otherwise, it's just mostly a fast mode, at least in my opinion. Unless you go cheeky with Colossal. But again, there's a lot more, a lot of slower Pokemons. And Colossal can be pretty fragile in this Dynamax era. What about you, Jaden? What do you think?
Yeah, so obviously this is a team that really wants to go fast. You got your Regieleki, 200 base speed, fastest thing in the format. Colossal steam engine, you want to be proccing that as many times as possible. The Miraculous Creditly trade doesn't really change much. But that Creditly can function on the Trick Room a little bit more better than Miraculous could. But generally, it's just a really well-crafted Colossal team with the two proc forms, one that's immune to Fake Out, the other one with, in a focus, Dragonite, and Urshifu, which is Urshifu. You can hit through Protect. It's completely and utterly broken. Taking away Protects. Clefable, one of the best redirectors in draft. Unaware is such a great ability to have because you just ignore boosts like Witness Policy boost, which is amazing. What I like about this team is that he's got Sableye. The biggest problem to Colossal teams is opposing Sableye, pranks the Sableye. Because you can trick eject button, you can quash it still. The fact he's got it, it means he's not going to have to deal with it in prep, which is amazing to have. And it's just a massive help for any team that relies on a Weakness Policy proc. The Magmortar, I love Magmortar as a Pokemon. It's such a good Pokemon. But I think you're going to be relying on the Colossal to be your Fire type here. So having that alternate mode for your Magmortar to be that Fire type when Colossal can't exactly go in, it's actually really good. Small issue, Water types won't be a problem with Valeki and Credilli, but I think a very good ground type could be a very big problem for this team, especially if you're relying on Galeki, Colossal, and Magmortar, because even Credilli is still neutral to ground. But I think the Council of Mice will be able to do very well with this team. Like, I think I rank this team very highly, because Colossal, chip damage, very good. Corviknight an endgame option, very great. And any turn with an Urshifu on it is just a winner in my book. I would actually like to see a bit of a Surf proc here, because to get around any redirections, but that's just a minor nitpick. So that's pretty much all I have to say. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's solid. I agree. So
yeah.
All right, 45. We believe in you. Don't disappoint.
The Council of Mice.
All right. Now we have our returning players. This is Atmosphere VGC's team. He actually was called the Shello Supporters, but this time decided for a rebrand, and now it's now the Solosis Supporters. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I was very surprised to see the Bino call for him. He was on the 4th spot, which is still kind of doable, but I was like, did you guys really just let him have some? Did you really just let him have some? And the most done is that he actually also got Charizard, which is very key, as Jaden mentioned, is that yes, Bino call, no skill is a thing. However, the fact that Atmosphere actually got Charizard makes the entire team a lot scarier. But in my opinion, one of the secret picks that people should not be sleeping on, okay? So if you guys are listening and scouting, because there is money and pricing going involved, is that Kling Clan. Alright? Do not sleep on that one. It was probably one of the most annoying Pokemons I remember seeing from Season 1. People slept on it, and it was just an annoyance. And honestly, from Season 1, this entire team is different from what Atmosphere picked from Season 1. So really excited to see how he... except for Klinga, he changed it a lot. And there's a losses because he always draft his pet Pokemon. And fun fact, like I said, he sniped Hydreigon, he sniped Gigalith, which by the way, I don't know why he has a Gigalith.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
Besides maybe sniping Bad, I know Bad was very angry, and then sniped the Tangela too. So those were 3 snipes I was made aware of. And otherwise, I think it's a very solid team. Sun is broken. I mean, you stole the extra, the budget T-Tar. So, the board is yours, Jaden.
10 out of 10 team has a Hydreigon. That's it. But seriously, you guys, why did you let Atmosphere get Torkoal, Venusaur, Charizard? They're arguably probably that's the best Sun mode I've seen. Like, I've never seen those 3 in a draft before, because they're normally all in the same tier. And all the drafts I do, they have them all, but you can only grab 2 or 1. Or not, where some teams only grab 1 or 2 top tier Pokemon. But Atmosphere will take a lot of kills with those 2 Pokemon, especially under the sun. And if you can get Trick Room up, don't discount Gigalith for being a threat. Also Torkoal. And this is where it comes to my next nitpick. I'd actually like to see a secondary Trick Room setup, because I love the Solosis. It is a mascot pick, but it's not the most reliable of setups, because it's only a baby mod. It's a little baby mod, so it can't really take a lot of attacks. So he could evolve into Devotion. That's not terrible. So being able to get that Trick Room mode to actually enable the Torkoal a bit more often would actually improve this team dramatically, and I think it would actually put it right to the top. That's how good I think this team is. Klinklang, budget Metagross. I love Metagross. I've used Klinklang. I've had a good experience with it, but I think he can get this job done with it. Aerodactyl for Tailwind. Sylveon, very good Pokemon. I really cannot find anything to fault with this team except for the fact Solosis is your Trick Room setter for Torkoal and Gigalith. I just think, watch out, guys.
I mean, I don't think he's gonna bring. I don't think he ever brought Shellos. I think it's just a mascot, and pretty much he's gonna just, if you set up TR, like, he's just gonna use it. I don't think you need a TR setter given the team. I honestly think that he has that mode just to have it.
To punish opposing Trick Room. Well, that's fair enough. Klinklang also gets Trick Room, so there's that as well.
Absolutely. So yeah, looking forward to it. I think also from the finals, given how Atmosphere draft season 1 to season 2, I do think his season 2 team is a lot stronger, and I think has a very chance of getting that rematch with Ally and taking it home. So
yeah,
go Atmosphere.
He's got Torkoal, Venu, Charizard. Those on their own can steamroll most of the league.
All right, our next team is Alolan Agilash, run by Sven, one of our newcomers. So I do know that Sven had help, and I'm gonna let Jaden talk a little bit more. But as your less experienced commentator right now, I like his team after the set, but I was very confused after his 3rd pick. Mudsdale made a little okay sense. Whatever, strong, annoying Groundmon. Lapras, Raichu, kind of standard pairing. I actually was surprised that he went with Landorus. He did explain to me why, okay? But I was hoping to see the Gmom Ultras, because this felt like a little like Pocoyo's team from last season, and Pocoyo was one of the top 8 players who actually just unfortunately ended up losing in top 8 because it was Suso Hive who had a stronger draft, in my opinion. but Pukoyo brought it back with a lot of his picks, and I really like his team in general. And given how Sven's driving, I thought, oh, maybe he saw how Pukoyo drive, and then he went 360. Drampa is an okay pick. I don't hate it. It's given the other, given all the weathers, Drampa, if utilized correctly, is very annoying. Same with Umbrella. It's not an awful pick. Lando's also not an awful pick. You have an Intimidator now, but I don't believe in Lando. Which I shouldn't say that, given that I used Lando last season, and people just like, I don't have something for Lando. So, and Scented Scorch is a nice pick. For those that do not know, Scented Scorch does have a G-Max form, and that means it has what I like to call a budget G-Max Wildfire. So, I will be very excited if G-Max Scented Scorch gets to use a couple times, because I do think the budget G-Max Wildfire is a little broken. Not true, but it probably is broken enough to be worthy of being used more than once or twice in this draft. Then we have Cortana, Goff, Jinx, and Double. Cortana is really good. One is probably one of the top 3 grass types. Now your Lapras is a lot safer from both the probably the strongest grass type, and you have Raichu, who is gonna stop all the electric mons for the most part until you kill it. So, and then Golf is just a bitch. Okay, we won't say that word in this YouTube video. I personally hate Golf, and the fact that he got it, one of the fastest fake outs, and a Hypnosis and an ally switcher, and the fact that he got Jinx, and we talk about how he also got Jinx and he's just gonna sweet kiss you, man. Those and double is just double. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not impressed by that one. All right, Jaden, I talk enough.
Yeah, like I said, this is something we actually very controversially differed on massively. Izzy kind of likes the team. I like the offensive options. You've got Lapras, you've got Katana, Landorus can put some hurt on. Drampa's got some good coverage. But I just feel like this team really needs a lot of setup to get going. Like, if Lapras doesn't have its weakness policy, it can't really do much damage. Mudsdale is good in the Trick Room, but it needs a little bit of setup. Not a lot, but it needs a tiny bit just to be able to do what it needs to do. Center Scorch, one of my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon. I love its G-Max. Its G-Max effect basically traps Pokemon in. So it gives you a Perish Trap mode with Lapras and Gothitelle. Gothitelle can trap things in with Shadow Tag. It is not very fun. I've been on the wrong end of a Shadow Tag. Katana. Katana's just got stupidly high power. It can just straight in and out, 20-minute adventure. Can take a game by itself if it's put in a good spot. Jinx, basically Gothitelle light. Except it gets, instead of Hypnosis, it gets Sweet Kiss. And like as he said, there's a whole bunch of fake outs, there's a whole bunch of ally switch shenanigans. Generally a good team, but I do struggle with its damage output offensively. And again, like Izzy, I'm very confused with your double ground types. I only think you need one. You don't need them both.
Yeah, hopefully we see some traits. I know, as I mentioned, we already got a couple traits going on. I did give them a grace period where they can actually, it does count on for their limited of 3 traits, but I did tell them, hey, if you trade up until midnight of PST, like tonight, then they're allowed to use these changes right away. And I think it's fair. I mean, sometimes it's just drafting panic because I did have a limited amount of time for them to pick. So, yeah, we'll see. Sven always surprises me, and he's a very strong BGC player. So hopefully that makes up for his quirky little draft. I mean, at least he got
Yeah.
Cortana. Like your Lapras can still go wild, but we
Yeah,
shall see.
you can. I still see. I can see this team doing some damage, um, during the season. So it's not a worse bad team. Like, it's the thing about the whole league as a whole at the moment is it was very hard to rank teams, and unfortunately, some teams do need to be ranked. Need to be a little bit more criticized because we can't say, "Oh, your team's good. We just want to make you guys improve and
Yep.
take down Ally."
Alright, so Johnny is our next player. They are the California Proudden. And I know, you guys see why is Spirit Bond like at the top. So fun fact is we had to skip Johnny. So given the position that Johnny is, he unfortunately ended up not being able to get the pair. I did make it a little fair where once round 8 hit, he could just get his star free pick because I thought it was a little unfair since we already skipped 1-1, which by the way, this benefit Ally since Ally actually ended up getting a Pokemon that Johnny actually was gonna get. But otherwise, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna let Jaden talk more of this team because I just think this weird is all over the place. I look at it, I mean, like individually, some of these Pokemons are pretty strong. Okay, you have your Tailwind and TR setters too. But kind of like Sven's is like I feel like there's a lack of power-ish. Like they're not bad, but it just doesn't feel that strong. So I'm gonna let Jaden, who probably did more research than me, and tell me why this team is decent.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I actually ranked this team at the bottom. So I love Metagross. I've won a league with Metagross. Metagross obviously won the league last season from Ally. It's a very strong Pokemon. I just feel like this team doesn't really enable the Metagross. It's a lot of mishmash of Pokemon. You've got Metagross, you've got Spiritomb. It's a good proc for it, but it's not the most reliable. P2, great Trick Room setup. It's very good. Urshifu Dark. This is the key point. Metagross hates Urshifu Dark. Having it on the same team is a massive advantage, especially because Galarian Moltres is still in that free agency table. So.
Sorry, spoilers, it's not.
It's not? You haven't picked it up in the draft, in the trades?
Yes, someone picked it up this morning.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Jellison is very out of place on this team, I feel like. You got your Trick Room setter in Porygon. I think you could have grabbed Arctivish or something. Arctivish would have been great here because you get a water type that can function on the trail and gives you a Ninetales actually purpose that isn't a proc or weakness policy on Goodra or Sceptile. Now we get to Goodra. I love Goodra. Goodra is a great Pokemon. And I fear that if this Metagross can't set up, or if this Urshifu gets hard countered, Goodra's gonna have to put in all the hard work, because Thunderous Fairy, it's alright. It's a flying type that's effectively immune to electric. It's all good. But I think Goodra's gonna be the Pokemon that needs to put in all the heavy lifting. If this team can't get its Metagross off the ground, if it can't get its Urshifu going. So I think they're going to have to use their free trades, and they're going to have to use them very, very well to get this team going, going in a positive direction. But then again, it's Metagross, it's Urshifu, P2, anything can happen. I could be entirely wrong, and this team could find its way into playoffs, like every Metagross team does somehow. So that's generally my thoughts of it.
Yeah, and I do want to point out Johnny. Well, I don't know if he is in other draft leagues. Johnny does tend to play a little more unorthodox. So I do want to say, based it on my experience with him, since we were in a team together, in a normal BGC draft league though, but still, they Johnny goes for like really really strange things sometimes that catches their opponent guards and gets them the win. So
Oh yeah,
it could
this
happen.
team
And
could.
the fact that Urshifer got taken and now you only have to worry about Galarian Moltres. Miracles just can go brr, 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 brr.
Yeah, Metagross can be enabled here. Like, like you said, he wants to play on Orthodox and stuff. This is a team that can absolutely play to that play style because I'm decently good at draft leagues. I've won a championship. I think that's kind of good enough to qualify myself as good enough. I look at his team and I'm like, what the hell is coming this week? And that's actually kind of a good thing because if your opponent doesn't know what you're gonna bring, you can just surprise them with weakness policy Crobat one week or weakness policy Thunderous with your Ninetales. But I do think you want a House Sweeper at least, so
Absolutely.
try just fix that first and then go from there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them. There's the Arctos, there's
I mean,
Beartic, there's
they
Alolan Sandslash.
they did use one tray already though. I don't know if you noticed they did not have the Togetic before. Togetic was replaced by Nidoqueen was replaced by Togetic. So I mean that redirection extra probably will help them out a little bit more too.
Oh yeah. Togetic plus Metagross is very good.
Yep.
Redirection. So yep, that's a tick in my book.
Yep.
I
All
like
right.
that one.
Let's go to the next team, and we have the Alolan Araquanets. All right. So one thing to talk about this team is actually run by KJ, and KJ is an amazing player. I'm pretty. So I do confuse KJ with KD, which is another of our players in this draft. I do believe though that KJ has done draft leagues before, so I do think
Yes.
yeah. All right. So I was right. So already pre-experienced, the level of this draft league compared to season one is a lot higher. Since season one was mostly like a casual thing with friends. With money in the line and your pride and bragging and a trophy, we have stacked our season two a lot more. And KJ needs a veteran on this. But okay, he did get sniped a lot. He got double snipe in the free picks after he got Pheromosa. Dragalga and Quagsire were not in his board. It was actually back-to-back snipes because and it was the most heartbreaking thing possible because I do believe he also got sniped again and in the top 7 months. I forgot which one it was, but he was like sad, very sad. I believe he was probably the player that got the most months sniped from him. And I'm not gonna lie, I hope Jaden can help me out because when I saw Torn and Glaster back to back, I was like, what are you doing, KJ? I don't get this. I am very confused at this. So, Jaden, please tell me what you think about this team because I don't know if it's gonna do very hard.
I actually like it. Torn and Glacier are arguably some of the best Pokemon in draft, and he has both of them. Prankster Torn is such a good Pokemon. Anything with Prankster is just 10 times better than any other Pokemon. Glastrier, we know what Glastrier can do because it dominated Series 9 and Series 7. And it has a great Trick Room setter in the form of Bronzong, which can Rock Tomb it to slow it down. And surprisingly, even though he's been sniped, he's been able to fit this Dragalge on very nicely because Bronzong also gets Bulldoze as a proc option for the Dragalge. So he has two very good Trick Room Sweepers, which he can enable with his Bronzong. Competitive Milotic, very nice. Deters Intimidate from the Blast. Klefki, another very good prankster Pokemon. Don't underestimate this thing on the Tailwind. You just look at Speed Swap on the Pheromosa, Speed Swap on the Glastrier, and this thing all of a sudden is becoming the fastest thing on the field. And Rotomosh, very good. We know the Rotom forms are all just stupidly bulky, and they just do whatever whatever they want, pretty much. So overall, you see he got sniped a lot, but he still drafted a very good team and a very solid team. So I think he'll do pretty well with this. I think he'll do really well. I have faith in KJ. Very big faith in him to do well with this team.
All right, you have heard, Howard. And like I said, I kind of see some synergy here and there, but it just felt like more individually they're stronger, except for the tier up aspect. So, KJ, you got this. Now we got another newcomer. Duckii is managing the feisty Scrafties. I never know. Is this feisty, fisty?
I think it's feisty.
Yeah, I think it feisty makes sense. So, I actually, funnily enough, have also played with Duckii. I do not know if Duckii has done draft leagues. I mean, Pokemon draft leagues. Man, it's so hard to differentiate both draft leagues.
I think I've seen Duckii hanging out on one of the draft servers I'm in.
Alright, so maybe they do. Although, like I said, when I criticize Duckii a lot, I do not like their team. They confuse me a lot with some of their picks. I mean, Spectre, amazing. Why is there a reliable next to it? I don't know. I just, that doesn't make sense to me. I just think like when you do 1 and 2, especially your S tiers, I always in my head is like, you should try pairing them up. But they made it up a little with Cobalion and Thundurus and Togepi. Togepi was actually a very big steal for them. I don't believe in Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan, just like Silvally, disappointed me when I did this other draft league I was in. Which, by the way, I'm not that much of a noob. I didn't, although the level skill probably wasn't there. But like when I did this, it was UBA, that UGA, UGA, like the bad, like the big
UGA.
Yeah, I actually ended up, which I'm really trying. I ended up and with a very bad. I personally think it was a bad draft. Made it to playoff somehow, and I only lost to the dude with a Rillaboom, who beat me week 1 because I had nothing for them and the Rillaboom. It was very upsetting, by the way, because Silvally couldn't kill that Rillaboom. Anyway, back to this instead of me, Duckii. I same with the last 2 teams. When I see this, I see some synergy here and there, but the first 2 picks just caught me, kind of scratch my head. Gyarados, I love Gyarados. I think Latias is also... Well, actually, is there a difference between Latios and Latias besides the gender?
Latios is more offensive. I just need to check I was actually saying the right one. Let's see here. Latios is the more offensive one. Latias is the more bulky, supportive one.
Alright. So, I mean, kind of makes sense that Duckii went for the more bulky one, because I do think there's enough offense in this team that unlike other teams, they lack. And I do think there's enough supports, actually. I mean, you have 3 very strong fake out users. Togepi should follow me, because otherwise I don't know why you're getting Togepi.
Togepi, follow me.
So a lot of, if you like Togepi or Sash Togepi, follow me also is always very, very strong. You know what, I retract what I said earlier. Your draft actually makes more sense now as I talk individually. But Jaden, I need your expertise. What do you think about this?
So you missed one very important thing about the team. Unburden Driftbloom with Grassy Seed, and you can proc a weakness policy on the Rillaboom. That is a very big strategy they can do. Generally, I like how they've gone with the more supportive Lati instead of the offensive one, because you've got so much offensive pressure on the team already, you don't need any more. Spectre, Gyarados, Rillaboom, Cobalion, and Divine Fundy all do that role perfectly well. Salazzle, very good. I'm assuming that's where your beat-up's coming from for your Cobalion, because I don't think Kangaskhan gets it. Gyarados plus Lightning Rod use are very good. Gyarados was actually the best Grass-type Pokemon in pre-Rillaboom times, and that was a good time. So Gyarados, very good. I like Gyarados. I have drafted it once, enjoyed it, dropped it because I wanted a Gastrodon instead. But it was a good Pokemon. Thundurus, we know what Thundurus can do. Define Prankster, it's so versatile. It's effectively 2 Pokemon in one pick in what it can do. Generally, just all round, well balanced, and I could easily see Duckii doing very, very well with this team. Like, it's very good, very well balanced. He's nailed most of the stuff he wants to do.
Yeah. Also, I just checked. Kangaskhan actually gets beat up. Sorry, Duckii, if you wanted to keep it a secret, but Kangaskhan does get beat up, chat.
Kangaskhan gets beat up. All right, there we go. We're gonna expose you all now.
Yeah, like I said, I did criticize Duckii partially because Duckii and I are friends, so I was just like, this doesn't make sense. But now, as I talk and then hearing your side too, yeah, this is actually a pretty solid team. So, very excited, Duckii. Duckii, you have been bragging about winning it all. Show me what you got. Although, I'm not gonna lie, shipping a trophy outside of the US is gonna be a pain. So, I might have to be cheering for a US person just for selfish reasons.
Yeah, it could be a nightmare.
Alright, now it's time. Our returning Season 1 champion. And I pretty much think he changed his entire team for the most part. I don't think he has... The Conkeldurr is the one Pokemon. I don't remember if he actually did have it on Season 1. But I do... Okay, so he had the different Lando because he got sniped from the normal Lando. But I think this Lando fits him better. So, yeah, because he, instead of Entei, instead of Raikou. And yeah, this is actually not... And you know, Metagross got replaced by a Copper Edge. Because that's his... Gengar actually was very surprised. In general, I believe we rank Ally pretty mid last season. AKA Pitons did it. AKA not me. When I look at this team, I don't think it's a bet. But I do scratch my head a little. One of the things I scratch my head, and I told Ally about this. And Ally, if you're listening, because I know you are, I believe in you, okay? You have proved me wrong. The competition is a little harder this time, and you got some solid Pokemons, but I still don't get. Show me why you have 2 fairies back to back. I know Togekiss is amazing. I know Grimmsnarl is amazing. But I just really hate the back-to-back typing of fairy. Entei, I think, is a huge upgrade over your Raikou. Gengar can be a BITCH. Gastro is just wholesome. Alolan Executor can also be really annoying, especially with TR. I believe it should get... Okay, Shodan, tell me if you get it. I believe...
Are you talking about Sleep Powder?
Yeah, it gets... Yeah. It's Sleep Powder annoying. I actually was double checking if it actually got a Chlorophyll. It doesn't,
oh, no.
Thank God. Okay, because that would be broken. Bisher... actually, no, Bisher is actually pretty solid too. I have personally used it a couple times too. A little fragile. And then, Conky, I have personally not made Conky work every time I use it. But I know it's generally pretty strong. Conky disappoints me when I use it. I love Lando T. I mean, is it Lando I? It's Lando I.
It's Lando I. Lando I is the main Lando.
And then the one peak I really, really like out of the 3 picks is probably a Beakabolt. That's what I call it, right? Beakabolt.
Yeah, Beakabolt.
And the reason why is that I almost lost to Beakabolt in a draft league because I just forgot that it was Levitate like 3 times. So, yeah. Don't forget it's Levitate, guys. Even though it's not a flying type, it has Levitate, so it makes up for it. I don't know. It just caught me off guard because it's like, oh, I can hit it right, and then I was like, oh, it's Levitate. Oops. But Jaden, you're a former champion. What do you think of our Season 1 Champions draft?
So, if it'll be a champion reviewing all the champions team. So Ally Switch is obviously gonna challenge himself a little bit this year, this season, drafting a little bit, something a little bit less, probably a bit different to what he drafted in season one. Teammates are obviously not the best team like it was last season, but he still has very good options here. Togekiss, put your hand up if you've been absolutely swept by a Togekiss in any format of Sword and Shield. Grimmsnarl, great support. Prankster, Screens, Thunder Wave, aka the best move in Pokemon, Scary Face, Trick, just you name it, Grimmsnarl probably gets it. Entei, Gengar, Gastrodon, Executor, very good Pokemon. They can do a role that he would need them to do. Gastrodon's a little bit less. Yeah, he can function without the Gastrodon, but I can understand why he has it. For his Entei and for his Landorus. Pretty much, I actually like the Landorus here. He can't get Lando Ferian, but Lando Incarna is just as good. Sheer Force, boosted Stone Edges, Earth Power, Sludge Bomb. Very, very good Pokemon in general. Vigavolt and Conkeldurr set up a very good Trick Room mode alongside the Executor and Gastrodon. And Copper I think I forgot about Copper in that Trick Room mode. So this team can go fast, it can go slow, unless which he's going to have very fun playing with this team. And I definitely wouldn't rule out a back-to-back championship run for him. So, Li, I think you'll do well with this team. And it'll be a good challenge for you. You used Metagross last season, times you used the Elephant, and use it very well.
I would be surprised if we see the Elephant. I don't know. I don't believe in the Elephant.
You don't believe in the Elephant?
I do not believe in the Elephant.
The Elephant can be kind of good.
Oh, see. I believe in Conky more than I believe in the
Elephant. Ally, prove her wrong. Win this season. Win it with Copper. Do it.
I am biased to our Gengar, so, or Togekiss. Alright, let's move on to the next player. We have the Boston Red. So, I assume it's supposed to be Solgaleos. But
yeah, Solgaleos.
But we obviously, for naming sake and aesthetic sake, you can't put Solgaleos over her. Alright, so this also happens to be a player I really wanted to talk about. Katie is a very, very veteran draft player. He is in high roller too. Has done well in general in draft leagues. I do not know if he actually is a champion of whatever draft. I just know he has done a lot and usually does pretty well. And as I mentioned, he actually stole Frostlass from Angelo. And I actually do not know what his draft does. I see Cinderace and Zapdos and I'm like, scratch my head. I do know that male Meowstic is really strong. Suicune, in my opinion, it's like Suicune is probably the strongest out of the three dogs between Entei and Raikou. So getting Suicune pretty strong. Raging Rock as his free peak kind of bothers me a little because you do have two okay fast modes, and then I suppose you're trying to get a TR setup mode ish. But Jaden, just enlighten me how this player is gonna make it to playoffs.
I think KD here is going to rely on this Cinderace. He's going to rely on his Zapdos to do very well in this league. Meowstic very good in terms of Prankster. But a little bit of anti-synergy there with the Tapu Lele. You can't really get your Prankster off, but you could. It doesn't get Unburdened. But you do get Unburdened with Hawlucha, and you can Ice Shard Procket and Psychic Seed Procket. Marowak feels a little bit out of place on the team, but it's a very good Trick Room setup, sweeper. He has a Regirock, and I do agree with you. I'm not a massive fan of the Regirock. It's kinda, in my opinion, a little bit over-tiered for what it can do. I think maybe going something like a Stack Attacker could be a bit more beneficial, gives you a Steel type, which is very nice. And Trick Room setup as well, which can enable a Marowak to do well under said Trick Room. But generally, I think this team's gonna really want to rely on its fast modes. So Zapdos, Cinderace, Frost Breath onto Anger Point Tauros, Ice Shard proc into Hawlucha, or Psychic Seed proc into Hawlucha. And of course, you have Tailwind with Suicune. Suicune, very bulky, can set up as an endgamer, or can go on the offense with a max straight off the bat. So, it's not a bad team. He has Cinderace, he has Zapdos, he has some good offensive threats, but I just think a couple of extra transactions here and there just fix things up. Like, number one, get rid of Regirock. And that's pretty much all I can really think of.
I just want to say you did lose your Regirock before.
He got rid of the Regirock? He traded it?
No.
Good.
I'm saying you have lost your Regirock in the past.
Oh, you. You had to bring that up, didn't you?
Sorry, it was too cute. I was like, I swear Regirock was good once. sorry.
Yeah, Regirock as a Pokemon is good, but I just don't think he has the tools to enable it to do well here.
It depends. I think there's a way, but you're right. You're absolutely right. So, prove us wrong, KD. See, I told you I get those Kates confused, man. All right, let's go to our next newcomer, and we have our friend Bat. Okay, so I kind of yell at Bat because I was like, why are you not getting your Sand Setter right away? Because Bat actually was on the 12th spot, so she could have gotten the Sand Setter right away. And I believe she told me that she might have Panic and ended up getting Primadina and then got Excadrill. And I do think, while I didn't see the synergy right away, those are really two really strong Pokemon. And I like that she went with Tesserina after. Even though I was yelling about, hey, get a Sand Setter. The reason why is that, let's be honest, we have a very limited of strong grass Pokemon. Okay, so I personally think Tesserina is probably like the third best draft grass. Well, actually no, fourth, because you have Venu, Cortana, Grilla, and then physical, and now you have Tesserina. So really good about her picking at that. And as I mentioned, she thankfully didn't get sniped, and no one tried to get T-Tar from her, because now you also. Oh, I don't believe Sandrush Dracozolt is good, but it has its benefits. And then I like the Obstagoon choice. I think it's pretty unique. Hopefully she has people helping her, because I don't think she has done a lot of drafts. I believe she has done at least one. And I know she helps some people. I do want to say that her draft is one of those where it has a lot of potential. When I look at it, there's some synergies that I'm not too familiar with it, but I can see that they can work. I don't know how, but it's one of those where I see it's like, I think if you do this, it's gonna work. So I'm really excited to see how Bat is gonna get into it, because she probably can be easily one of the dark horses in this league. And Jaden, I know, had a lot of promising expectations for Bat, so I will let him bring those up.
Yeah, so you've obviously got Sand plus Primarina, Zarina, and Galarian Zapdos. Though that core right there, Prim, Excadrill, T-Tar, Serena, and Galarian Zapdos, you can throw Dracozolt on there. Very good very good team of 6 right there that you can actually bring to quite a few games during the season and do very well in. I believe Bat did get help from Fiona, and she did ask me before the draft started what were some of the best Pokemon to probably draft, and she suggested wanting to go Primarina, but she wanted also Cinderace, but obviously Cinderace got sniped by KD, so she grabbed Prim, and arguably I think Prim should actually be in the S tier sometimes. It's such a good Pokemon. But the rest of our Pokemon, Obstacle own Alternate Defiant, it's a very good option. Ranunculus, very good Trick Room setter. It can function as self under a Trick Room. Surfetched. Kinda looks a bit redundant with the fact you've also got Galarian Zapdos, but I can understand the nobility behind novelty behind it, because I'm pretty sure she really wanted to send a picture of the buffs. Surfetched, Moltres, and Naganadel. Been out of place, but I like the Moltres a little bit more than I like the Naganadel. But then again, Naganadel gives you an alternate dragon type that you can use if you don't want to use Dracozolt, for example. Overall, this is a team that can really put a number on people, even if you do prepare for it, because you may prepare for Excadrill T-Tar, but she may bring the Dracozolt. And even if she doesn't need to bring Sandrush Dracozolt either, she can bring a Hustle form. So, I like it. I like this team a lot, and I do think it's one of the top, probably even the top 5 teams of what was drafted, which is very impressive for Bat, which is like her first draft. So, yeah. I like that. Izzy, you're muted.
Oh, oops. So let's go back a little bit. And yeah, so now I believe in you, Bet. You got this. So let's go to the next player. Alright, so this is another newcomer we have. Pokeson is the Smoking Drampas. I really, really like their logo. Pokeson, I'm not sure if they have done Pokemon drafts. However, they're very, very strong Italian player. BGC that I have known. They actually are now teammates with a good friend of mine, Justify Joey. In general, I think there's a little bit. The only thing I do not like is Regidrago and Dracovish together. The rest of and Talonflame and Braviary together. I think, at least when I personally draft, I don't like overlapping typing too much. Just like I mentioned, I didn't like Ale having back-to-back S tier fairies. Talonflame I thought was a really nice pick, and then Pokeson with Braviary, and it's not a bad mod. Okay, Braviary has Defiant. You have another Tailwind setter. Braviary in general is a sleeper pick in my opinion. It can be pretty good in draft if utilized correctly. And the same can be said. Dracovish is a staple Pokemon. Might not be doing so well in BGC in general, but it's always been Scarf, Choice Band, Dracovish. You even have the Clefairy, right? So Dracovish is could be easily annoying, and we do know that there is already a rain team going now. Actually 2 rain setters out in the league. So if you Pokemon faces them, you're just boosting up that Dracovish. And again, you could also be the Sun Rush, but Fisher Wren, Sun Rush is not worth it on Dracovish either. And then there's Regidrago, and I don't get the Regidrago pick. I think it's probably the weirdest pick out of all of them. Along with the Morpeko. I don't believe in Morpeko, but there's just a lack of extra. But the core 6 the Pokeson has, I believe, is pretty strong. I mean, PC, Clefairy, you have PC also, with him on term fake out Diggersby can be weakness policy. I mean, huge power is annoying. It's and then again, you can't you because you have one of the strongest follow me users, and also decent fake out user and a priority on Talonflame. You can get most of this month set up. Or like get this month to just go brr brr brr, and then a back, whatever is in the back can just lay Dynamax to try overpowering your opponent. So in a way, like I don't think there's enough depth in this team. Pokestone can maybe prove me wrong, or Jaden can tell me stuff that I missed, but it just looked like I expect Pokestone to be bringing the same 6 for the most part, because I think this team lacks depth. All right.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. PZ, Clefairy, Dracovish, Regidrago, Talonflame, Diggersby. That's really what I could be seeing coming most every week. With the occasional Hitmontop and Roserade making an appearance. Like, I like Braviary, I like Talonflame as well, but I don't think you need both. You could grab some better defined Pokemon in the Braviary slot. I think Talonflame is good enough as a flying type, but I respect getting both of them because you don't want to pretty much be reliant on one of them being... Because Talonflame is good, but it doesn't hit very hard. We know how hard PZ can hit. Well, Izzy, you know how hard PZ can hit, right?
I love PC. I was a big PC fan. A disappointment had series, but it is very strong.
Yeah, but Dracovish, it's not really a Pokemon, it's a move. It's Vicious Rend. That's literally what Dracovish is going to do. So the Regidrago actually makes sense. That you want a strong dragon type that can actually fire off dragon attacks. Yeah, Dracovish can fire off dragon attacks, but it wants a click Fishy Rend every 5 minutes. So, very hyper-aggressive team this is with the Talonflame, Clefairy, and then the PZ, Dracozolt, and not Dracozolt, Dracovish, Mr. Fish, and Regidrago. So I could really see this team popping up and smashing some teams apart with its very hyper-aggressive nature. And I like it because I'm naturally a very hyper offensive player at heart. I love myself a good Paragon Z. So yeah, I can really see this doing well. But he will need to work for it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so the TR mode is kind of scary. I think Clefairy probably has after you. I don't know if there's any. Maybe Mr. Mike wants TR. I'm not sure, but otherwise Diggersby is your next TR mode.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Mimes do get TR and Clefairy does get after you, so...
Yeah, I was sure about the Clefairy. And then, yeah, so... Thankfully, there's not a lot of strong TR in the draft, but it is something to keep in mind. And Clefairy is just... I think Clefairy is going to be the MVP for them. I think it's going to have to you be spamming that follow me a couple times to make sure the chaos go well.
And if Clef's done that, then it's a job well done. Especially next to PZ.
Yep. Alright, let's go to our next Italian. So, Duckii is our other resident Italian in this league. We actually had a couple Europeans joining this league, which I'm very excited. I mean, it makes scheduling sometimes a little bit because it is mostly NA prevalent, but I also know Duckii is pretty decent Italian BGC player, and I can't believe that Duckii stole Pokestone stole Duckii's Dracovish. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, come on, Duckii has literally Dracovish. How can you have taken? Because Pokestone actually was drafting for Duckii, so it's kind of funny. I don't know if they're gonna go trade. I don't think so, because I don't think Duckii can afford the trades. One thing I do want to say is that getting the G-Max Moltres, it used to be Dust Club, is actually a really good choice for Duckii. I was very concerned when I saw their draft that it was a little too support heavy, because they have Whimsicott, Among Us, and Dust Club as their S tiers. So I was like, okay. But now that I have Gym Ultras, I think this puts them a little higher than I have. And as we mentioned, they did get Latios. So Latios is the more offensive Latios of the pair of Lats. Mamo, always a very strong. I think now with the changes that they did the team, I love Duraludon. I really wish Duraludon was better power wise, because its ability to ignore follow me like is so good. It is, and it's technically a decent typing too. It just doesn't have that power. Maybe even when you plus your weakness policy, I've been so frustrated with it in the past because I have drafted it and it has disappointed me. So maybe Jockey uses it a little bit different, but it does have Stoys. And it kind of almost falls under the Duradolon problem where it just doesn't hit hard enough. But you have Gmax Canonate. Gmax Canonate is broken in a way. And I think out of the entire team, I also, the weirdest pick probably was the fact that they got Shedinja. While Shedinja is kind of a broken Pokemon, I don't know if it's broken enough to be used in a draft league. But I personally think with the change of the Digimon Monster, I easily pull Jockey like top 3. I really like their draft.
Yeah. I think I ranked this team actually very low, and that's before the Galarian Moltres, so when we get to that, I will actually clarify that, saying that I actually like the team a lot more with the Galarian Moltres. And I'm happy for the thing to be drafted because it's quite honestly one of the best Pokemon in the draft league. Berserk is so good. The only issue I could feel is that it's kind of been forced into the team, but I think it can still put in some decent work. You've got Blastoise, you've got Torracat, two little good support pieces there. Means Blastoise can actually be offensive at times. Duraludon Whimsicott, very powerful. That's like a Series 1, Series 2 type core. But then you've also got Latios. I don't know how I feel about Latios being on the team, but I think it could work. You've got 4 dragon types.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't bring all 3 together, bro. Let's be honest.
Surely you don't bring all 4 to one game.
Oh yeah, 4. Oops.
Shedinja in draft, answering your question, is just a little bit less reliable because you can just throw on a random rock slide or a random duck move or a random fire move or a random flying move just to deal with it. Amoonguss, good redirector, can support the Moltres very well, can enable Blastoise to Shell Smash providing the Pokemon that will hit the Blastoise isn't grass typed. So I think this team's much better with the Galarian Moltres, and I like it. Just please do something with these dragon types. You don't need 4 of them.
I mean, the thing is, I personally think Turtonator is a very nice pick. And
yeah, it's a good end gamer. You can get Shell Armor.
And then Appleton can do stuff. I know that he has 4 dragon types, but I just think they all do different things. Because he has the Galarian Moltres, he could easily just bring Galarian Moltres, Whimsicott Among Us, and then Blastoise, and then Torracat you there, and then you at the end have either Appleton. So I do think Appleton and Turtonator could do the same job, but because they both kind of get like acid armor, and then for Turtonator is like iron defense, and the Turtonator can get crit. I think it's such a nice ability to have. So I get the 4-type dragon, but because each of them kind of are a little special in their own way, I think they could just. You could actually argue bringing 2, but there's not that many strong fairies to worry about, right? You just have Togekis
Yeah.
and Tapu Fini and Primadina.
Yeah, and then again, the only two dragons on the team that are weak to fairy and ice are Appleton and Latios, because Duraludon and Turtonator are steel and fire type respectively, so they resist it. Well,
Yeah.
are neutral to it.
And like I
So-
said, you have 3 grass types to like deal with the Primadina and the Fini if needed.
Yeah,
And I think there's just ways. I do think that when Jockey faces the Fini team, depending on how, I forgot who had the Fini, but I think that probably will be the more problematic because Galar and Moltres is also
yeah.
doesn't like
So-
the Fini.
4 dragons, I don't like it, but they could have chosen worse 4 dragons too.
Yeah, and I still believe it has the potential of making it to playoffs. It's just how Jockey
Yeah.
uses them specifically. Because
Yeah, this will come-
they have a very specific set of weaknesses, but they also kind of cover each other a little bit here and there. So if Jockey just builds it correctly, the dragons and the fairy weaknesses is fine.
Yeah, they will. This will come down to a playstyle. How well they can play this, because I think this team could make playoffs, and it's all down to them.
Oh wait, also there's I think I hopefully Jockey missed atmosphere. We're actually gonna be talking about the schedules on the week 1 video instead, but a schedule will matter because I think atmosphere eats this entire team. I'm pretty sure Sun eats this team very well. All right, let's go to our last one because I'm getting hungry. And for our last player, it's our last returning player from last season, Vegas Golden Corviknights, managed by Dimond. And oh, there's a double. Let's ignore the double Trevenant there, okay, guys? Let's just ignore, like, it's just in the background. But so I do know that Diamond is doing pretty decently in the High Roller League, which is the more expensive league to you. I think you pay like almost 200 to enter it, and you pay you get or pay $25 each time you play a match. So a lot of more experience, doing a lot well. Like he did say that season 1 helped him become a stronger player, and he's doing well in High Roller. So I think that's very good, because when I saw this draft, I see the modes like the rain mode, the actual electric terrain mode. He also got you still in DD, which kind of conflicts a little with Tapu Koko, but I don't know what Trevenant does. That probably is the weirdest pick for me. I do like Duke Trio. I hope they make it work, because Duke Trio usually doesn't work the best for me. But Arena Trap is very annoying, and it's one of the faster Pokemon too. Ferroturn, very good TR. Ferroturn and Marowak are probably their TR setup for in case they do, because in general they do have a very fast mode-ish. And then Alolan Persian, pretty solid. I mean, it's just a pretty solid fake out, fake tears mon on their end. So my only complaint is that, what is Toxicroak doing? I don't know. Besides, it gets dry skin, that will help with the rainbow. But yeah, otherwise, Jaden, what do you think about this?
So I'll be completely honest. I looked at this team originally when I woke up this morning, and I looked at it and I saw the Alolan Raichu, and I'm like, why do they have a Alolan Raichu without the electric terrain? Because I didn't see the Tapu Koko at all. So I'm like, why would they have it? So I saw the then I was looking at the actual thing before, because Izzy sent me slides, and I'm like, oh, there's a Koko on this team. But yeah, look at the team. It's generally some good stuff. You've got Indeedee Female, which is a very good redirector. You've got Pelipper, which is absolutely trash and looks like a toilet.
Hey, no Pelipper slander here. I like Pelipper.
There will be Pelipper slander in this analysis. But it provides rain, which is enough for the Kingdra. Ferrothorn on the rain is an absolute threat. We've seen Ferrothorn do well in the restricted format, Exorcisation and Kyogre. In a lower power level, it can do really well here too. Very good endgamer. Blood Persian and Toxicroak both give fake out support. Toxicroak actually kind of makes sense for this composition because it is a rain team, and I actually like the Alolan Marowak because having a strong fire type will allow you to actually fight opposing steel types or grass types that would like to take advantage of your rain to basically hide under it. A key example would actually be Ferrothorn, but you've got Ferrothorn, so don't have to worry about it. So I like it. I think this team could do really well. You got very good offensive modes. You got the rain mode. You've got the Marowak, Alolan, and you've got the Koko and Raichu, which can actually take advantage of both the terrains for its stats. So very decent team. I actually really like this team. Really like it.
Yeah. It was one of the easier teams to like look at it. So now, for those that stay for this long, we're gonna talk a little bit about power ranking. We're gonna talk a little about power ranking. So, as we mentioned, if you have been listening a little, I believe some might get moved because Jaden didn't look at the trade channel before doing this power ranking.
Yeah. So if I do the old wild fish actually had Moltres, I would have bumped them up a lot more.
Alright, so let's talk about first of what we initially ranked them with their original, mostly their original roster. Which, like I said, I think that the trades out of everyone, all wild fish is probably who got the end of the stick because I think that trade that they did this morning was very important. I don't think the other two trades that happened affected things too much. I mean, yes, Nidoqueen for Togetic, really good, but it's not like game changer. Just all wild fish just had too many supports, like I mentioned. So needing another offense mon changes absolutely their ranking. But so this is mostly Jaden's ranking, and I'm gonna just add my preference. I mostly agree with Jaden. Once again, I like getting put in mid in the predictions. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? I personally want to say that I will put the Solossi supporters first instead of second. I think the Solossi supporters to me will be second. I want to say that I actually put the Athens Alcremie on fourth over the Corviknight because I think when I see Corviknight's team, it's a little bit more straightforward than the Athens. I also want to say I will put the Feasties Crafties fifth instead. And then everyone else, I kind of okay. I do kind of agree. I'm sorry, Johnny, but I agree on Johnny being the 14. I want to say I put actually maybe Boston 7 instead. Just because Katie is a veteran draft player.
She says you're the 10th best team. How does that make you feel?
But overall, like I after talking with Jaden, going through each of your team guys, I do think it's a little hard to rank it. The top 5 alone to me, it is very, very hard because I almost want to say like instead of because of the specific mode that you have 45 mice. That's why I don't put you first, even though I really like your team. That's the only reason. Just like I don't put Athens Alcremie first, is that you do have a little bit of a more inflexible specific mode, like cold mode. Everyone always gonna be prepping for that for the most part. It could be a double edged, right? But it is a little bit easier to protect. Sun is broken for a reason, which is even though we know it's coming, the fact that it's Charizard and Venusaur and Torkoal that you have to worry, it makes it 10 times harder. because you just have to swap a weather controller. So I think that is a little bit annoying, and yeah, otherwise I think with the exception of what I mentioned is Jaden and I probably rank most of you around the same, like ish. Like I said, give or take a couple picks, and then as we mentioned, all Wildfish is probably the one that we agree probably gets bumped at least 2 ranks, like maybe 10th or 9th.
Yeah, I'd say that's about where they belong
Right?
with
Yeah,
their transaction. Yep.
with their transaction.
So yeah, that's really the only team we probably agree moves up.
I mean, no, we agree
Unless-
on the last one.
Unless we really want to light a fire in the reigning champion and put Ally Switch at the bottom.
Nah. I'm not gonna underestimate Ally. I will still keep Ally in that spot though. I don't want to move him because Ally did have one of the hardest, if not the second or third hardest schedule. They also got their only loss was very unfortunately to Sheer Cole Articuno. But it's Pokemon. It's a 3-player game, guys.
Yeah.
You, your opponent, and RNG. And RNG told Ally that he's not playing the game. But I did see that Sohive and Atmosphere. Cool. Sohive did choke. Definitely. After talking to Ally, I now remember that it was still more favorable to Ally. Atmosphere could have tried making it a little closer. There was like a minor misplay, but I did think the matchup was in favor. But this time, I mean, when I look at both teams, I think Atmosphere always has the advantage, unless I'm missing something from Ally's team. I just think the fact that you guys actually allow Atmosphere to have Charizard in their Sun Core makes this Sun Core so scary. Like, imagine if I got him fucking Whimsicott too.
Yeah.
Oh,
that would have been stupid.
Orlando.
Oh lord! Imagine if you got like Rhyperior.
Oh yeah. You guys
That
are
would have
lucky.
been.
Yeah.
If you got Rhyperior instead of Gigalith, that would have been terrifying.
He could trade,
But
I don't think it's gonna happen.
But yeah, generally, I rank. It was actually very difficult for me to actually rank, especially in these lower ranks, because it's very difficult to put a team in a certain rank, especially when we rank low, because I kept going, okay, this team's good, but this team's good as well, but this team's also very good. So, the top 5, I think, to me, are probably the best 5 teams in the league. Angelo, I just have a natural bias towards the Celesteela teams. Atmospheres is good, but I think he's just missing a little bit of something. I think he just needs that one, that Trick Room setter. Asolosis is great, but I think he just needs that Trick Room setter to just tick it over to enable his Torkoal, enable his Gigalith, and I think he'll give Angelo a very good run for his money. And I wonder if they do play, because that will be a very good set to watch.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, I don't want to talk about schedule because this video is probably pretty long, but we'll probably be talking a little as each of the video was. But guys, don't feel too hard about like the ranking. They're just opinions. You guys can prove us wrong. Ally did it last season, so.
Yeah.
But I do want to say though that most of the predictions we have at top 5 did come true. I think Pocoyo was probably Pocoyo and Mega Umbreon were the soft upsets from last season. So, you're not saying that we're right, but we're not fully wrong. But you guys can prove us wrong with this ranking. This is just to spice things up. And I know that when we put people in a lower rank, they get more motivated. And then sometimes it backfires for the ones that are first.
So, you guys at the top, you guys have a lot of pressure on your boots. You guys at the bottom, you have no pressure. So,
just game.
You guys are just game, and you will surprise us with a potential player's appearance. But then again, every team, very good. I think every team in the league could make a run at playoffs. Like, I do think that, best of luck to you all for the rest of your best of luck for all your seasons. Don't make it too easy for Ally Switch to go back to back. Because I know he'll definitely be wanting to do that. So, yeah, have a good fun season. I will be around as an admin for the season, because I'm helping Izzy out with that. So, best of luck for your seasons, guys.
Yeah, best of luck. Again, Dayden, thank you so much for helping me with the analysis. It helps me a lot because I usually don't have the time to do too much, so it really like in the extra perspective. And chat, tell me if you guys ever want like a player interview. I could even bring Ally sometimes. But this is our season rankings, and week 1 will be actually starting as this video gets published. So very excited and looking forward to seeing a couple matches. I'm gonna be changing out how it, but we will be talking more about week 1 once it's complete. Until next time, see ya!